Firstly, these three boards show the difference in designs over a very short period of time, and there should be two other boards there, a very small 510 double-ended board on that end, and in between these two a double-ended, a big long, as long as this, double-ended board. That's over a period of about 18 months. That just shows how fast designs were changing and the whole experimental nature of that era. This one here, which fascinates me to look again, see it again, is one of the very first boards I made. And this is at John Arnold's in South Australia, by the way, all of these. And I made about, I don't know how many, 7 or 8, and that's all. And I know where there are 3 now that are still in existence. Ryan Lovelace has one in America. Simon McLean has this in Adelaide, and a friend of mine in Anglesey, Victoria's got another one. These are really what I'd call, for me, a real breakthrough. They changed the way I surfed, or I could surf. And you can see how different the whole dynamic of that plan shape is. It's much more area at the back, less at the front, inspired by the old teardrop boards that I rode sometimes when I was very, very young. They were balsa wood boards, and they were called teardrops because the nose was sharp and they came out and they were shaped like that. So I always had that in my mind because they were so much looser than the big, thick, heavy, standard looking Mals that we had back then. So yeah, so this board, or this design, is the same as the one on the photo of the Evolution poster for the film Evolution. It was one of these boards that I made, and as I say, they were remarkably free and just allowed me to surf really differently to what I'd been surfing before. So you can see the different designs. It went from that to the double-ended a little bit, which I didn't actually ride, but I designed them. But this was a sort of semi-tracker shape. When I went overseas to make Evolution in Europe, the board I took was very similar to this, which still exists in Victoria, but it was very similar to this, kind of tracker-ish, a lot stiffer, better on big waves, just held in better because of the lack of area in the tail. So then it went to this in '69. There's some footage of me surfing Margaret River in the Australian Tidals on a green board. It's longer than this, but it's that plan shape. Different bottom to this one, and that was a beautiful board. It was actually a magic board. I rode it off on the rocks over there, unfortunately. When you had no leg ropes, that sort of thing happened a lot. You'd be surfing pretty rugged areas with just, cliffs and rocks and whatever, and if you lost your board, it was the end. Just rode it off. I just want to show the bottom shape rocker line through the tail of these boards. This is a different fin, by the way. That's been broken off and it's a whole different fin. The original fins were longer and narrower up in here, but I hope you can see the bottom shape. There's the V here. It's slightly concave, quite deep. I'm moving it around. You're right.
Good.
And it's almost like an S in the bottom, but it's actually not. But it's shaped into the board that way. To put a straight edge on it, it's actually straight off, just in the last part, and quite flat. The V flattens out. This might give a better idea of how the rocker's running on this angle. All these boards were made stringless, and when we glassed them, we bent the rockers in. That's sort of how crude it was back then. And the reason was we could only get Mel blanks back then, and they were very flat. And to put curves in for these new shorter boards, you just couldn't shape it in. It wasn't possible. pretty amazing. You know, it's such a different time, and you know, you look back on it, and it's remarkable the amount of changes and experimentation that was going on. So I've just shown these for the people who really take an interest in history of surfing and surfboard design. Just a little clip for people that have that interest. All right, thanks.